Big Mama Thornton, godmother of the blues, was an influential American singer and songwriter whose gritty vocals and instrumental style had a tremendous influence on the blues, R&B, and rock and roll. Overlooked by white audiences during her lifetime, Thornton's work inspired imitation by Elvis Presley and Janis Joplin, who recorded popular cover versions of Thornton's Hound Dog and Ball and Chain, respectively. Willie Mae Thornton was born on December 11, 1926, outside of Montgomery in rural Arrington, Alabama. By the time she was 3, the family had settled in Lauderdale County. Her father, Thomas H. Thornton, was a Baptist minister, and her mother, Edna M. Richardson Thornton, was a singer in a church choir. Willie Mae grew up singing in the church. She learned to play the drums, and she taught herself how to play the harmonica as a child, using the one her brother Harp threw away. Willie Mae's mother died from tuberculosis when she was 14, and she took a job cleaning a local saloon and was soon substituting for the regular singer. Accounts of how she attracted the notice of Atlanta music promoter Sammy Green vary. In one version, he heard her win first prize in a local amateur contest. In another, she helped one of his artists move a piano up the club stairs. In any event, in 1941, Thornton joined Green's Georgia-based show, The Hot Harlem Review, and remained with him for 7 years. Billed as the new Bessie Smith, she sang and danced throughout the Southeast. She later acknowledged the influence of artists she heard during this time, including Smith, Ma Rainey, Junior Parker, and Memphis Minnie. The following years as a traveling blues singer, Thornton left the Review and moved to Houston in 1948 to begin her recording career. She would contribute to the development of the Texas blues style. In this period, she worked with 2 producers, band leader Johnny Otis, and, most significant, a flamboyant black entrepreneur named Don Roby. Roby reportedly heard Thornton in Houston's El Dorado Ballroom and was impressed with her ability to play multiple instruments, rare for a female singer. He signed her to a 5-year contract with his Peacock record label. This independent studio, later called Duke Peacock, was known for gritty rhythm and blues and gospel. It was an important influence on soul music and rock, and featured artists such as Marie Adams, Johnny Ace, and a young Little Richard. In time, Willie Mae became known as Big Mama, not just because of her large stature, but for her commanding stage presence. From her bellowing voice that needed no microphone to her ability to jam on any instrument set before her, Thornton was in a class of her own. Her voice was gravelly and uncommon. She was 6 feet tall, and in later years exclusively appeared on stage in a 3-piece suit, a big man's hat, and shoes. Influenced by the voices and styles of singers like Bessie Smith and Diamond Tooth Mary. Thornton's open lesbianism caused some tension with Roby, but he produced her first recordings and set up a regular performance schedule for her in his Houston club, the Bronze Peacock, and on the Southern Performance Trail known as the Chitlin Circuit. This string of clubs and venues covered the eastern and southern United States and were considered safe for Black American musicians to play in. They ranged from the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York, to local juke joints in Mississippi. Thornton spent much of the early 1950s on the road or recording for Roby or Johnny Otis when in Houston or Los Angeles. In 1952, Thornton traveled to New York City with the Otis Show to play at the famed Apollo Theater, where she initially served as the opening act for R&B artists Little Esther Phillips and Mel Walker, but was soon promoted to headliner. She first earned the name Big Mama at this time. In August, at a recording session in Southwest Los Angeles, she was approached by the young songwriting team of Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, soon to become rock and roll legends. They offered her a 12-bar vocal called Hound Dog, which she liked and paired on a single with her own They Call Me Big Mama on a B-side. Her exuberant hound dog, laden with open sexual references, whoops, and barks, was released nationwide in 1953. and soon topped the R&B charts. Despite its sale of 2 million copies, Thornton only received $500. In contrast, Elvis Presley's 1956 version, heavily refined for mainstream audiences, brought him both fame and considerable financial reward. This is perhaps the most notorious example of the inequity that often existed when a black original was covered by a white artist. As the popularity of Thornton's traditional blues style waned in favor of the newer rock sound, she moved to San Francisco in the early 1950s and performed for several years without a label or promoter, until the resurgent interest in the traditional blues in the early 1960s brought attention to her work. In the late 1960s, she made several seminal recordings for Chris Strathwitz, producer of Archival Records, including Big Mama Thornton in Europe 1966, backed by Buddy Guy, Walter Horton, and Freddie Below. Big Mama Thornton with the Chicago Blues Band 1966 with Muddy Waters, Sam Lightnin' Hopkins, and Otis Spann, and Ball and Chain 1968, a compilation of original work by Thornton, Hopkins, and Larry Williams. Rock artists took note of these powerful recordings. The title song of Ball and Chain became a signature song for Thornton's great admirer, Janis Joplin. And in September 1968, Thornton appeared at the Sky River Rock Festival with a lineup that included The Grateful Dead, James Cotton, and Santana. Thornton's popularity continued to surge throughout the 1970s. However, her health deteriorated due to years of heavy drinking. As her unreleased material was gathered together for albums such as Saved, 1973, Sassy Mama, 1975, and Jail, 1975, Thornton struggled to make performance and recording dates, including the 1979 San Francisco Blues Festival, where she needed assistance to mount the stage. As a final act of dedication to the blues, Thornton recovered from a serious car accident in the early 1980s to perform at the 1983 Newport Jazz Festival with artists such as Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Lloyd Glenn, producing a final album, The Blues, A Real Summit Meeting. Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton died in Los Angeles on July 25, 1984, at the age of 57, from complications resulting from a heart attack. Her funeral was led by her old friend, now Reverend Johnny Otis, and many artists paid tribute. She was buried in Inglewood Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Of her awards and accomplishments during her 44-year career, Thornton was nominated for the Blues Music Award 6 times and wrote and recorded more than 20 songs. In 1984, the year of her death, she was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. In 2020, she was also inducted into the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. Big Mama Thornton left an indelible mark on American music. She was a one-of-a-kind trailblazer and innovator. She was the sound of the blues, often imitated but never duplicated. She broke gender norms and lived her life unapologetically. Big Mama Thornton didn't receive the recognition or financial gain she deserved, but she left the foundation for others to stand on. Big Mama Thornton, godmother of the blues and Onyx Queen.
Welcome me back to Eugene once more.
If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.